I express an opinion, I'm not rooting for one side or another. I mean, I don't feel like I have a stake in the outcome. I don't mind if my reasoning is sound for offering up an opinion about what's going to happen. I don't feel ashamed to come and say, I didn't have to bring in these statements of myself, admitting to you that I didn't get it right. I'm perfectly comfortable as long as I view my reasoning as sound, and my ability to relay the facts is accurate. I did that throughout this case. And again, when I was reporting strictly for the newscasts, for example, in the O.J. Simpson case, I was not involved in an opinion-based show. I was strictly reporting what was in court. And despite the fact that we went to great lengths to be as objective as possible, and I think that in cases like the O.J. Simpson case, objectivity can actually be a bias in and of itself. We can talk about that if you have any questions later. But I think that there are certain times where certain pieces of evidence, there is a right and a wrong. And as a reporter who wasn't allowed to take a position, I couldn't differentiate between the two. I had to basically say, the prosecution says this, but keep in mind the defense argues this, or the defense is saying this, but remember the prosecution argues that. And even when we would do that, of course, O.J. Simpson claimed again and again that the media coverage was unfair. The problem that O.J. Simpson had, in my opinion, was the evidence. It wasn't the way it was being reported. It was the fact that it was being reported. And it is such an easy scapegoat in all these cases to blame the media. Every single high-profile trial, you will hear attorneys blaming the media on both sides. Oh, so unfair. And in the Jackson case, it was almost humorous to hear both sides saying it was the media's fault. And I would say, and in response to Tom's attack on the media, I would say the only people who I think should have less credibility than lawyers on TV are lawyers who are paid to take a position. The notion that somehow some member of the media who, let's assume they have a bias, let's assume that they're too opinionated, that person is less credible than someone who's being paid to advocate for someone is an absurdity. But I love Tom Mesereau. He is. I do. This is the response that I believe applies in response not specifically to Tom as much to attorneys who try and undermine the credibility of the media. And let me say that Tom is right. We do have different goals than the legal system, and it does create a tension. There's no